The people of Owoh community in Enugu State have recently been involved in a dispute with the Nigerian army over ownership of the very land upon which the community sits. Community members have gone on peaceful protests and lament that soldiers have been invading their community and intimidating everyone in sight, despite a court injunction restraining the Nigerian army. And they are also calling on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to intervene in the matter. For the root cause of this dispute and possible ways through which the tension can be diffused, we are now being joined by a lawyer and community representative, Barrister Ngene. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the morning show. Now, please, can you give us some insight into what the dispute is about and why the community is trying to draw the president's attention to the matter?
Yes, this matter has a checkered history. The community woke up to a rude shock on the 3rd day of November 2015 when they saw soldiers from the Nigerian army, particularly 82 Division of the Nigerian army then, manned billboards virtually all over the entire community with the inscription, "Keep off, army land." When the community noticed what was happening, the community quickly, without further hesitation, wrote to the then GOC 82 Division of the Nigerian Army, complaining about the acts of trespass they noticed in their community. When no headway was being made with respect to that report, they also wrote to the Enugu state government then, complaining that their community land is not army land. The state government summoned an interview, a meeting between the Nigerian army and representatives of the community. The representatives of the community came, attended that meeting at the state secretariat, but the Nigerian army said they cannot join such meeting. When all entreaties seem to have failed, they escalated it by writing to the Chief of Army Staff via their letter of 1st February 2016, complaining about this acts of trespass. The community also wrote to both chambers of the National Assembly via their letter of 1st February 2016, complaining about the same act, that it amounts to an annexation of a community and its annihilation, so to speak, when without lawful authority or any form of acquisition known to law, they now man billboards everywhere and begin to chase people away from their farmlands, started marking buildings for demolition, that this is army land. Luckily, both chambers of the National Assembly accepted that petition for investigative hearing. We were summoned to the National Assembly at Abuja, the House of Representatives first, exhaustively deliberated on this matter. And on the 12th day of October 2016, they passed a resolution on that matter. It's gazetted, it's in the Gazette of the National Assembly. The proceedings of Wednesday, 12th October 2016, declaring that that land is not army land, that is alien to our law for any part of government to suddenly jump into a land that does not belong to it. There are procedures on acquisition of land. The Nigerian army is not an acquiring institution, so to speak. The same petition was also exhaustively heard by the Senate, who also, in March 2017, also passed their own resolution, which is in line with the resolution of the House of Representatives, declaring that that land does not belong to the Nigerian army. During those deliberations, luckily, the army were asked, how did you come about this land being your own? Do you have any document of acquisition? For which they could not provide any. All that keep happening is that this is army land.
All right.
They say, no, it doesn't work that way.
All right, Barrister Ngene, let me come in there so that we can have a full discourse on it. What is the precise size of the land we are talking about? Because we keep hearing that it's the community land, is the community land. What is the precise land that is in contention? And what do you say to those who are saying that the army's intention is to use that land for recreation or for a playground? And then what has happened lately, given that about a week ago there was a protest? This is something that you have been dealing with, as you have narrated to us, since 2015 and 2016 when the National Assembly intervened. But then has there been anything of late that warranted the protest of last week?
Yes, after the 2016 and 2017 resolution of the National Assembly, the army stayed off, never came to that very land again. In obedience to those resolutions, coincidentally, the former GOC of the 82 Division of the Nigerian Army was a part of that Senate committee. That is Lieutenant General Jerry Hussein of the blessed memory. He told them, look, no, you know this community you're talking about, it is not even anywhere near the military barrack. That place is not army land. Caution them that you cannot displace an entire community based on a claim of such character. They kept off. They never came back there because I also know that the clerk of the National Assembly was mandated to write to them, which he did by his letter of 31st October 2016. It was duly received by them on 2nd November 2016. The Senate also, in the same manner, also directed the Chief of Defense Staff to also caution the Nigerian Army not to interfere with our ownership and holding of that very land, which they also abided. In fact, this thing came on, we were working also sometime in April, 1st of April precisely, 2025, this year, when we also heard that the same army people have also written, complaining that this is the same army land, starting the same agitation again, re-entering into the very land. I know we were summoned to a meeting where we were shown a letter which they wrote, contending, amongst other things, that the National Assembly does not have powers to pass the resolution, that we ought to have gone to court. They also commenced their illegal activities complaint of being the trespass on the land, and we were then constrained to approach the civil court. We filed a suit at the High Court of Enugu State. The suit number is /375/2025. His Royal Highness Igwe Godwin Okekarum and another against the Nigerian Army, the Ministry of Defense, and the state government, because we were then even afraid of collusion by the state. On the 20th day of May 2025, my Lord, the Honorable Justice C.O. Aja, PhD, issued an interlocutory order of injunction restraining them from entering into the land or doing anything on the land. Notwithstanding this injunction that was issued in their presence and duly served on them, they still continue with their acts of trespass. Firstly, they started demolishing buildings on the same land, commenced other activities, construction on the land. In fact, what's part of the last protest was the massive construction work they embarked on the same land where they are restrained, notwithstanding their knowledge of the court order. They knew about the order of the court. That's why they are even seeking for leave to appeal against that same order. They are seeking for favorable discretion of the court on a matter which they are in contempt of. It's unheard of. So it was these recent activities on the land that sparked off that protest, in saying this is a height of lawlessness. If you will neither obey the order of a court nor obey the resolution of the National Assembly, where are we heading to?
What is the size of the land?
I want to take the land via Tamis.
What is the size of the land?
Yes, the land originally, yes, in fact, in their letter, it was until their letter of 1st April 2025 that they said that the land they're talking about is 2,996 hectares of land. Yes. But before then, they were not definitive. They refuse to disclose the size of the land. In fact, there are mountain billboards everywhere. This is a heavily built up place. In fact, the Minister of Defense in 2017, when they came on verification, told the community and said, no, this place can never be acquired. This is already ancestral home of people. With over 6,000 houses everywhere. You can't displace them just that way.
Thank you, Barrister. Now, you're telling us that there's over 6,000 homes and families living there, and you're alleging that the military is ignoring both the National Assembly and a court order?
Yes, that is true.
Okay.
All right. Is the governor involved in all this? Because part of what the protesters said was that if the army is allowed to take over the land, even the land belonging to the governor's father will be affected. So you have had dealings with the National Assembly. You have asked the president to step in. What is the governor of Enugu State doing about all this?
Yes, to be frank, sometime on 3rd April 2025, further to the letter from the Nigerian Army to His Excellency Dr. Peter Mba over the same issue, we were invited to Government House, where the GOC of the 82 Division of the Nigerian Army, with about 6 other brigadier generals and the senior officers of the army, were in attendance. I recall that in that meeting, the governor asked them whether they have any document to support their claim that this is army land in the first place. They said they have. They said, beautiful. If you have the document that shows that it is your land, that is excited to know about it, not just because he's from that community, but because he's the governor of the state. And by virtue of the Land Use Act, all lands in the state are vested on the governor who holds it in trust for the people of the state. That he had no problem with that, bring it forward. But then, as a way forward, he also even offered in the subsequent meeting, say, if the army needs land, it is not something unusual. The federal government is not an acquiring authority, so to speak. And what usually happens is that when the federal government requires land for its own use, or for any of its agencies, it usually rises to the governor making those requisitions, requests for this land. The governor acquires this land from the owners of the land, pays compensation to them, issues document of title to the federal government or to the agency required, and everything is settled. He says, in this case, if you think you require land for whatever purpose you want, notify me, so he can even make it a win-win situation. He will acquire land somewhere else. You can't displace this community, except you have a valid title, so to speak. I know also that subsequent to that, they also came, the Nigerian Army came in a tour with the Commissioner for Land of Enugu State and the Surveyor General of Enugu State, where the governor showed them alternative sites. So if the army wants land, he don't want to have a brush with the Nigerian Army. It's an institution he has so much tremendous respect for. I will not want to be seen as if he's quarreling with the Nigerian Army.
Yes, thank you so much.
They thought the whole place.
Yeah.
At the end of it all, they could still not do anything reasonable.
Thank you so much, Barrister, for joining us this morning and pleading on behalf of your community. We're yet to see where this will end up, but thank you so much for joining us on The Morning Show.